Today, Famagusta Gate is a cultural centre with a blend of the medieval and urban characters of the busy capital, creating a picture that enchants the eye of the beholder. On the outskirts of Nicosia, you can also find the fort of Aronas, a citadel built on top of the hill of Aronas, or, as it's also called, the Hill of the Lion. The fort was built by the Frankish king Jacques I in 1385 AD and was used as a watchtower vital to the defense of Nicosia. Most of these castles have inspired myth-making and legend-weaving, surviving up to the present and still presenting unsolved riddles as to who they're referring to and what they were trying to communicate. One of the most popular legends, but simultaneously the most mysterious, is the one of the Regina of Cyprus. She is a figure linked with many medieval buildings, idyllic sceneries, churches, and treasures. As science progresses, enabling us more and more to trace the historical roots of the buildings that were supposedly hers, the mention of the Regina becomes less and less frequent. She has, however, never stopped in her multifaceted existence to represent the very soul of Cyprus, Cyprus itself, and in this case, every single castle belonged and still belongs to her. The archaeological site of Chirokitia is one of the most impressive Neolithic settlements in the world and is also on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Replicas of the dwellings have been constructed here so that visitors can see how people really lived thousands of years ago. New technology, Greek language, religion and culture were brought to Cyprus from Mycenae in mainland Greece during and after the 13th century BC. Here lie the roots of Cyprus's unwavering orientation towards Europe. The Greeks built magnificent city kingdoms which lasted for centuries as centers of trade and civilization in the Mediterranean world. The town of Paphos preserves its original name until today. Among other archaeological sites, one can see in Paphos the unique underground tombs of the kings carved out of the rock in the 12th century BC, as well as the 3rd century mosaic floors at the houses of Dionysus, Theseus, and Aeon. The smaller relics of this fascinating past are carefully preserved in various archaeological museums found in all towns, as well as next to ancient sites. The rich copper reserves of Cyprus and its strategic location attracted many invaders over the centuries, all the way to the Roman conquest of the island, which once more encouraged Greek civilization and culture. Cyprus was one of the first countries to receive and accept the Christian message as delivered by the apostles Paul and Barnabas. The latter is celebrated as the founder saint of the Autocephalous Church of Cyprus. Indeed, Cyprus's main characteristic during the 8 centuries of Byzantine administration was its Christian Orthodox orientation. In those times, the arts went through a period of impressive growth. The hands of the artists created masterpieces of fine technique. The churches featured exquisite mosaics and frescoes, and the architectural styles created works that inspire awe and wonderment to this day. 10 such Byzantine churches are listed today by UNESCO as protected monuments and World Heritage Sites. During the Middle Ages, the island was taken from the Byzantines by the English, who sold it to the French, who in turn lost it to the Venetians. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Turks conquered the island to almost plunge it into oblivion. By the end of the 19th century, they ceded it to the British, who were welcomed by the Christian population of the island as liberators. Yet, Cyprus had to fight for its independence, which was effected in 1960. Like most other people in a region that has endured uncertainty and hardships of a turbulent history, the Cypriots revere life and live it to the full. Even though the fascinating tapestry that is modern Cyprus has been fashioned by the various settlers and conquerors who've come and gone through the ages, all leaving behind monuments of their own specific culture, the prevailing image which gives Cyprus its particular character of contrasts is its contemporary architecture and modern highways. These are the achievements of the island's modern-day population, whose cosmopolitan nature is the one characteristic it has held fast to since ancient times. The arts are today flourishing in Cyprus, with theatre, modern dance groups and music performances by the state orchestra and private musical groups, and innumerable art galleries exhibiting new works of art all over the island. Traditional handicrafts, however, are not abandoned, but promoted in order to encourage younger generations to continue the tradition. Today, Nicosia is the last divided European capital. Its streets come to dead ends created by concrete and barbed wire, by fears and by guilt. It's for these reasons that the residents of Nicosia within the walls gradually abandoned the old town after the 1974 Turkish invasion and settled outside in a new and modern city. A large part of the old town remains silent to this day, living through legends which rise up through each and every stone. The old churches speak of Byzantine emperors, the ruined palaces of Frankish kings, the minarets and kiosks of Ottoman pashas, the stone-built mansions of the Victorian age, and the stately homes with shaded courtyards of lords and ladies. Circular Venetian walls featuring 3 gates and 11 bastions enclose within them the old town. The 3 gates of Kyrenia, Paphos and Famagusta formed the only channels through which the residents of the town could come into contact with the outside world. The gates had heavy wooden, iron-sheathed doors, which secured the town from undesirable elements. The walls were built by the Venetians in 1567, but barely 3 years had passed when, in 1570, a lengthy siege led to the surrender of Nicosia to the Ottomans. Famagusta Gate is today used for cultural purposes and acts as host to numerous exhibitions, lectures, theatrical performances and other cultural events. Its restoration was carried out by the Nicosia municipality, which also received the Europa Nostra Award for its successful undertaking in protecting and preserving European heritage and culture. The medieval Cathedral of Santa Sofia is a shining example of Gothic architecture. It was built in 1326, and many were the Frankish kings crowned and buried here. It's said that when Lala Mustafa Pasha, the Ottoman conqueror of Nicosia, first set foot in the town, he went straight to the church of Santa Sofia in order to pray in the direction of Mecca. From that day, in the year 1570, the church was turned into a mosque, and remains so to this day. In the old town, almost all the houses have kiosks and balconies. Their main feature, however, are the archways. It's believed that the sharp apexed arches derive from Frankish and Venetian models. Cypriot builders quickly assimilated this technique, constructing arches in almost all houses for climatological reasons. Another characteristic of the old houses are the interior courtyards, which, in addition to the protection offered to the family, housed the laundry room, the pantry, and the kitchen. An integral feature of a house's front door was a striking cast-iron knocker in a variety of shapes. In 1984, the then mayor of Nicosia, Lelos Dimitriadis, thought up the Nicosia Master Plan, which envisioned revitalizing the divided capital and once again bringing visitors and wealth to the old town. The plan was of a long-term character and addressed not only the Greek side of Nicosia, but a reunified town. Streets and sidewalks were repaved, dilapidated and derelict buildings renovated, and traders and merchants were given incentives so that the old town would once again breathe life. The Laiki Gitonia, as it was named, which translates roughly into folk neighborhood in English, was the first area restored. And the plan did bear fruit. In 1988, and to everybody's joy, Laiki Gitonia received the first prize from the International Federation of Journalists and Travel Writers as the most noteworthy tourism-related project in the world. The house of Dragoman Hadjigeorgakis Kornesios is one of the oldest mansions of Nicosia and the most impressive example of late 18th century Ottoman architecture. The entire house is built of local sandstone, while its two street-facing aspects, with their iron latticed openings, accentuate its fortress-like character. What truly impresses the visitor, however, is the pleasant ambience of its interior spaces, which come into stark contrast with the exterior fortress-like appearance. Next to the dragoman's house, one comes across the Archbishopric and the Folk Art Museum, which is an extremely interesting place for those wishing to familiarize themselves with the history of Cyprus's folk art and handicrafts. The Archaeological Museum portrays the civilization of the island from its very beginnings in 9000 BC to the Byzantine period. Here, the visitor can see prehistoric exhibits, Neolithic